Welcome to B.News Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with B.News Director Rich Hosford, B.News reporters Chris Flaherty and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, and Ian Casiola with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. Burlington went with the 4th Middlesex State Senate District as a whole on Tuesday in the special election, with voters casting more ballots for Cindy Friedman than her competitor. The special election was called after the passing of State Senator Ken Donnelly, who died on Sunday, April 2nd, due to complications from a brain tumor that he was diagnosed with 8 months prior. Friedman beat out Green Rainbow candidate Ian Jackson. Republicans weren't represented in the district. The district is made up by the towns of Arlington, Billerica, Burlington, a number of precincts in Lexington and the city of Woburn, with a vote count of 7,201 to 704, according to preliminary results. In Burlington, Friedman won the race with 553 votes to Jackson's 71. Not a stellar turnout by any stretch of the imagination. Friedman, who was Donnelly's chief of staff for 9 years, said she will work diligently to carry on the late senator's legacy. We will have full coverage of the reaction to the win from Friedman and her supporters on Wednesday. In the meantime, B-News Director Rich Hosford was at the polls and with the Friedman campaign on Tuesday and has this report.
The polls were open on Tuesday for the special state election to fill the late Senator Ken Donnelly's 4th Middlesex State Senate seat. However, in Burlington, the polls were not in their normal location in the high school gym, but were instead moved to the school's cafeteria on the other side of the building.
And the change of venue, well, there's really two reasons why we did it. One was the recreation department runs a summer program that involves using that whole gym space and a lot of equipment and that kind of stuff. And then this also gave us a chance to do a test an emergency plan if we ever had to move the polls from the gym to another location. You know, could we do it? How long would it take us to reset up? How long did it take us to set up? And we also needed to figure out in a smaller space, because we don't have as big a space anywhere else, that would let us run an election.
Warfield said that aside from a couple of logistical issues, the test of the new venue went well, but that truth be told, the system and the poll workers were not put under a lot of stress due to the low turnout.
Well, the turnout has been really soft, a little unfortunate. We probably are running about 3.5% of our registered voters have come out. But the people who've come out have been enthusiastic and glad that they were here to, again, vote for whatever position is open. They realize the importance of a state senator. Not having a state senator when they've been approving and working on the budget, you know, is a little detrimental.
Though it may have been slow at the polls, one place where there was a lot of action was the Common Ground Bar and Grill in Arlington, where newly elected State Senator Cindy Friedman supporters gathered to celebrate her victory. I spoke to a couple of her supporters and campaign volunteers and asked how they were feeling as the results came in.
I feel proud. I feel happy. It's easy to say that we are just pawns. You know, there's so many people in this nation of 300 million. How can we do anything? Well, we can do things. I mean, turnout is low, especially in these state special elections, so any vote makes a difference. My vote made a difference, and so many others did as well.
Well, it's really exciting, and this is a midsummer special election, so a real challenge from the start to get people out and mobilized, and I'm really proud of the results that we see here today.
I also asked a couple of supporters about what had made them enthusiastic about her campaign.
I trusted her. Her background isn't a typical politician. She was a teacher and a community activist. She'd never held elected office. She was running to help someone, to help the residents of the district. She wasn't running so she could have the honor of being a senator, and I appreciated that.
Sure. Well, I met Cindy when we were both volunteering on the First of All Patrick campaign. She was organizing Arlington. I was part of a group organizing Lexington. So we met then and we became friends, but I also got to sort of see her in action, see what a strong advocate she is, a leader, how passionate she is about the things she believes in.
One of the biggest things that we got involved with Ken Donnelly, and really driven a lot by Cindy, was the Mary Cummings Park. I'm on that board of directors to make sure we save that park, where the threat was there to sell it by the city of Boston, who owns it. It's a trusted piece of property that Cindy has been very strongly involved with, talking to Mayor Walsh. And we're now at a point where that's turned the corner. We've now saved the park, thanks to that office.
I had the chance to speak with Friedman herself, who started out by thanking the many people that filled the room that evening.
Well, I want to thank everybody who supported me, and I'm so proud of the campaign that we ran, and I'm so honored and humbled by the people who support me, and you know, I feel like it's a real reflection. You know, if you're measured by the quality of your friends, I am one of the richest people in the world.
Friedman also spoke about what she hopes to accomplish in office.
I think it's really important right now. I think that our local governments and our state is more important than it's ever been in the world we live in today. And I think that states can be real leaders in how our country moves forward. And so we need strong voices to make sure that we bring balance back so that it's not this huge gap between the haves and the have-nots, but that we all get to share in the largesse and the economic opportunities that our country has to offer. And that's what I want to work on. I want to make sure that everybody has access to opportunities, and everybody has the ability to, you know, live in a safe place and feel secure and feel respected for who they are, and put food on the table and provided an education for their children and get affordable and accessible health care. And that should be something, and live in an environment that's healthy. And that should be something that we all have access to, and that's what I want to work on.
Finally, Friedman had worked as Senator Donnelly's chief of staff for 9 years, and I asked her the importance of carrying on his legacy.
Oh, it's incredibly important. One of the amazing things about the Senator Donnelly, was that he allowed me to be a partner with him. And the things that we worked on are things that we both cared about very, very much. And to be able to continue that work is not only an honor, but something that I really want to do. And part of that work is to represent our district and represent the towns in our district so that they have access to the state, and that we can help them be the bridge to, you know, to what they need and want, and what our government can provide for them. So I'm really anxious to continue that work.
At the Friedman celebration at Common Ground, I'm B.NEWS Director Rich Hosford.
Police are investigating a fatal pedestrian accident that occurred on the highway in Burlington early Sunday morning. According to the Massachusetts State Police, at about 3:35 a.m. Sunday morning, state police from the Danvers Barracks responded to a crash involving a pedestrian on Route 95, or 128 northbound, south of exit 34 in Burlington, which resulted in one fatality. State police received several calls from motorists regarding a man who was in the middle of Route 95 northbound in that area, waving his hands. State police subsequently received a call from the operator of a Volvo reporting he had struck a pedestrian in the middle of Route 95 in Burlington. The Burlington Police Department was the first on scene and confirmed the pedestrian had been struck and killed. Preliminary investigation by Trooper Gregory Sulcer indicates that a 2004 Volvo sedan operated by a 39-year-old Malden man was traveling on Route 95 south of exit 34 in Burlington when it collided with the pedestrian who was in the second travel lane of the roadway. The pedestrian was subsequently struck by a second vehicle, a 2010 Toyota, operated by 22-year-old Brookline, New Hampshire man. As a result of the collisions, the pedestrian was determined to be deceased at the scene. Both operators remained on scene and are cooperating with the investigation. The crash remains under investigation with assistance from the State Police Collision Analysis and Reconstruction Section, Crime Scene Services Section, and Middlesex County Detective Troopers from the Concord Barracks also assisted on scene. State police were assisted on scene by the Burlington Police, Fire, EMS, and Mass Department of Transportation. No word yet as to why a man would be in the middle of the Route 128 at 3:30 in the morning waving his hands. The air was heavy with the smell of smoke, and traffic was backed up on Cambridge Street in the wake of a car fire near a very busy intersection. At around 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, the Burlington Fire Department responded to a call of a car fire across from the Roach Brothers Plaza in front of the Herb Chambers Honda dealership. When firefighters arrived, they found a 2011 Hyundai Sonata fully engulfed. A full assignment of 2 engines, a tow truck, and the tower truck, and a command car responded to the incident and were able to put out the fire, but not before the vehicle was completely destroyed. The heat of the fire was so hot it made opening the driver's side door for post-fire inspection almost impossible. Lieutenant Jim Sorensen of the Burlington Fire Department said the vehicle was occupied by a driver and 3 passengers. The driver was alerted to the situation after seeing signs of the fire. The gentleman in the vehicle noticed smoke coming from under the hood, Sorensen said. Fortunately, because the driver noticed the smoke, all of the occupants of the vehicle were able to escape unharmed. At this time, the officials say the cause of the fire is unknown. However, the owner of the vehicle said he had worked on the car recently after an engine problem. A proposed appeal of a Zoning Board of Appeals decision and a building inspector decision regarding an installation at the future EMD Millipore building will not have funds provided by the town, at least not funds approved by the Board of Selectmen. Last week, the board voted 3-0-0 against providing funds to pay counsel for a planning board suit in the Massachusetts Land Court. Under Mass General Laws, the board and town meeting are the only 2 entities in town that can approve funds for legal counsel. The ZBA decision in question is the approval of a 75-foot tall LED wall with a 16-foot electric sign that was approved for the Millipore business on the Summit campus at 400-600 Wheeler Road. On May 2nd, the ZBA unanimously approved the LED wall that was listed by the building inspector as an artwork rather than a sign. During the meeting, some members expressed concern about the application and whether the wall violated the town's general bylaw that prohibits electric signs, but ultimately ended up approving it. Members of the planning board disagreed with the decision and on June 1st voted 7-0 to appeal the decision of the ZBA. They argued that the artwork was a sign with moving images displayed on an LED panel. On July 17th, the Board of Selectmen took up the issue of funding the lawsuit by the planning board. The 3 members present relied heavily on backup material written by town counsel Brandon Moss. In that document, Moss pointed to a previous lawsuit filed by the planning board and the Advisory Land Use Committee against the ZBA decision regarding stovetop ovens in the Residence Inn by Marriott being built in the district. Moss said in that case, the Land Court ruled that either the Board of Selectmen or town meeting would need to approve funds for legal counsel. The Board of Selectmen elected not to supply the funds for legal counsel. They said during the meeting that based on Moss's opinion, they did not feel it was a prudent use of town funds for one board to sue another in land court. It is possible that the planning board could pursue funds from town meeting, though the issue of standing might still be a problem. Although that's unlikely, town meeting does have standing. The planning board also had an executive session during its July 20 meeting on the premise of ongoing negotiations so it could come to an agreement with Millipore itself outside of court. No details from that executive session have been released as of this time. On July 23rd, 1732, the United Church of Christ Congregational opened their doors to the Christian community. This year marks the 285th anniversary of this historic landmark. B.NEWS reporter Robert Paris went to the UCC to check out the celebration.
One of the oldest meeting houses can be found right here in Burlington. This past Sunday, the United Church of Christ Congregational in Burlington held a special service and luncheon for their 285th anniversary.
Our church was built in the year 1732, which was 285 years ago. In fact, the church was built in one day, 285 years ago today, July 23rd, 1732. And so it's a very big deal and milestone in the life of our church. And so we use today as an opportunity to celebrate our very rich and long history.
Local historian Mike Trudeau attended and participated in the service and told me a little bit about the origin of the UCC.
Burlington's a town with 3 birthdays. 1642, when Woburn was formed, and this was part of Woburn at the beginning. 1730 is when the residents of the Shawshin area were allowed to build their own meeting house. And 1799 is when the town of Burlington itself was incorporated. 1732 is when the old meeting house, what is now the UCC Church, was constructed. It's one of the oldest original frame churches in Massachusetts, one of the 10 oldest, as a matter of fact. And it is the building really around which Burlington was formed. Because in colonial America, the church was the government. There was no separation of church and state. And so you had to have a church and a meeting house in order to have an actual community.
The UCC had done some remodeling over the years to the interior and exterior part of the church.
The interior originally was very plain. It would just be an open area, much like this building is here now. Okay? There would have been no decorations. Stained glass was out of the question. They didn't have a steeple or a bell in the steeple. They would have benches, little just not even with backs, just plain benches set up that the people would sit on. The pastor would be at one end. The women and children would sit to his left, and the men to his right. And service would be held. Church service would be anywhere from 6 to 8 hours long. So this was quite a chore for the farmers of that time, because they still had livestock to take care of and crops to attend to, which is why the people of the Shawshun area petitioned for a long time to get their own meeting house.
Finally, Reverend Wells and Mr. Trudeau hope people took something away from the 285th anniversary.
I hope that the message we remember is that God's love endures. And if we continue to keep our focus fixated on that and remember that all the ministries in the life of the church that we do are to perpetuate God's love in the world and to serve the neediest and most vulnerable people around us, then the church will endure and will survive, and that our job is to care for one another. And we have such an incredible community here full of loving people who really do care for each other in the world. And as long as we stay focused on that and don't get sort of distracted by other things that can take our eye off what we're called to do, then the church will continue to exist for many years to come.
Take away this. This is the building around which Burlington was formed, around which the community began. Not just the church, but Burlington itself.
From the UCC, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Well, Reverend John Hancock was the first Reverend of the UCC. We'll have to ask Mike Trudeau in his next show whether or not he was related to the John Hancock. A popular place for birthday parties and other celebrations that features arcade and carnival games has shut its doors. The Chucky in Burlington, located at 4 Wall Street, has recently closed. A sign on the door stated the location was closed but did not elaborate as to why. It did point patrons to area locations that are still operational in Natick, Everett, and Lowell. Chucky was originally founded in 1977 in San Jose, California. The restaurant caters to children with a variety of activities, including a ball pit, musical, animatronic show, arcade games, and prizes. The Summer Education Theater, or BEST program, has been coaching aspiring young actors for the better part of the last decade. This weekend, they take the stage to perform The Lion King Jr., an adaptation of the hit Broadway show based on the Disney film of the same name. BNews entertainment reporter Chris Flaherty spoke to the cast and crew during rehearsals about the show and their experience with BEST.
As the Burlington Educational Summer Theater, or BEST program, winds down its 9th season of production, cast and crew are preparing for opening night of their production of The Lion King Jr. I paid a visit to the Fogelberg Auditorium during rehearsals to speak to the cast and crew, as well as Executive Director of the BEST program, John Middleton Cox.
Is that I've worked in different summer theater programs around the area. I did the Walnut Hill School, I've done Middlesex School, I've done, there was one in Andover I've done, and I thought, boy, I wish we could have one in Burlington. This facility used to go completely unused all summer, so with the support of the administration, we were able to launch the program, and I'm thrilled to see it continuing.
This is my first year with the BEST program. Steve Black, who is our music director, actually recommended me for the position because we met over the past year doing a show together, and I couldn't be happier. So.
And this is my 4th summer as director. I did Cinderella, Seussical, Shrek, and now Lion King. And having Tom here as choreographer has been a wonderful experience. It's been a great collaboration for us. So.
I asked the crew how they came to the decision to make The Lion King this year's show and what the original Disney classic means to them.
Well, The Lion King is a Disney favorite. It's a favorite of mine. I first, saw the cartoon movie back in the mid '90s, and had a powerful effect for me. So this was the first year that it's actually become available for the rights to be used.
Lion King. It's one of the first movies I saw in the theater. And who doesn't love Disney? So definitely love the original.
It's truly, I saw the original Broadway show, and it's truly magical. I mean, we're doing the junior version, so we're not up to that budget. But we're doing a lot of really cool stuff and great makeup, great costumes, really cool sets, and have a great cast.
Among the cast are many students returning to the program from previous years, including Cameron Noonan, who plays Simba. During his interview, Cam shared some surprising information with me. Did you ever see the original Lion King before you were cast?
I have not.
You've never seen the Lion King?
Never ever, no.
Oh my goodness. So you're just going into this blank slate.
Yeah.
Making this your own.
Go with the flow,
No, that's awesome. It's good you're making the character your own. I like that. Opposite Cam's Simba is Isabella Gill in the role of Nala.
She sort of has been through a lot. She sort of has to become the leader of the Pride Lands after Simba leaves and Mufasa dies. And she kind of has to help them sort of become one again, because Scar has basically ruined the Pride Lands, and she just has to try and help them be strong.
The cast all spoke in part on what they've learned by taking part in the B.E.S.T program.
Before I came here, I was very afraid of being on stage. And when I did come here, I noticed that I loved to be on stage and act and sing and dance and do everything. So.
In B.E.S.T, they do take you step by step in what you're doing so you can really become one with your character. And then with that, they also help you practice your singing, dancing, and acting skills.
They teach you a lot of stuff, mostly to have fun and to basically, if you mess up, it's okay, just keep on going and just stay true to yourself and your character.
You don't have to be afraid of going on stage because you get to know a lot about yourself, and when you're on stage you get to come out of your shell and be somebody else for a change, and I just really got confident with doing that.
It's okay to be scared, if you have stage fright. I also met a lot of new friends here because when I did Shrek last year, I was afraid that I would meet no one, but in the first week I had a bunch of friends and they were really looking out for me.
Finally, I asked John what he hopes students can take away from this experience.
What thrills me is when I see students achieve more than they ever thought they could. When they are able to achieve a level of excellence that's beyond what they even thought they were capable of. When I see that light in their eyes, that's what really gets me excited. But I've always wanted to make sure that B.E.S.T staff and students are in a professional and positive way. A lot of directors out there will yell and be drill sergeant type people, and the kids feel bad about themselves, and that's not what we're about here at all.
The B.E.S.T program presents The Lion King Jr. this Friday and Saturday. Tickets are available now and at the door. Hakuna Matata. Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
If you haven't seen a Middleton Cox production, you're missing out. Not only that, it'd be good to support the kids. Members of the Burlington Police Department attended a school safety symposium at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. The event was co-hosted by the I Love You Guys Foundation and Jeffco Public Schools, a Colorado school district in Jefferson County. The I Love You Guys Foundation is an organization that advances school safety by connecting school administrators with law enforcement officials to handle critical events and emergencies. It was founded by John Michael Keyes, whose daughter Emily was fatally shot in the Platte Canyon, Colorado high school shooting. Emily's final text to her father before being killed was, "I love you guys." The reason for the symposium was to provide preemptive school safety measures for law enforcement agencies. Burlington Police members Sergeant Danny Hannafin, School Resource Officer Keith Shepard, and Officer Dominic Grassi participated in the symposium in early July. That's Daniel Hannafin. The symposium was held for 3 days, and officers from Burlington left with essential skills that the department could implement immediately. Attendees investigated components of a crisis and were given a detailed action plan on how to address emergencies. The officers were trained in the standard response protocol, which was adopted by the Burlington Public School System after Burlington officers, including Police Chief Michael Kent, said Burlington school officials attended also Burlington school officials attended that meeting in 2016. A local burger and sandwich joint with a focus on fresh ingredients will be hosting a fundraiser for Burlington's People Helping People. People Helping People said it is pleased to announce that Be Good will be hosting an event for the organization on Tuesday, August 1st. On that day, Be Good will donate 5% of all sales to People Helping People. The organization says this will not be the first time the restaurant has offered its support. The restaurant has supported the group's wine tasting as well as its concerts on the town common. Be Good is located at 82 Mall Road in the same plaza as Chipotle and Starbucks. We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown in our Weather Center for the latest forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Ian Cassiola to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the upcoming period. And can you believe it here? We are almost at the tail end of July. Can you believe it? My time has really gone by fast, and we're actually, meteorologically speaking, 2/3 of the way through summer already. So I know it's hard to believe, but wow, that is something else to say. The time just is going by so fast. But as we start out our period on Thursday, going towards the end of July, see temperatures going to be fairly close to average. Temperatures in the upper 70s and low temperatures only around, in the low 60s. So some very pleasant conditions actually coming up for the first few days to start out our period for late in July. And of course, as you know, this time of the year, it could be much, much, much hotter than this. So if you have to go out, do any plans or anything like that, it's going to be really nice around the Burlington area. As you can see here, look at this as we get towards the end of the period. We'll be into the start of August already, folks. So temperatures, though, those average highs still way up in the mid-80s, so that's a good sign. The cold air is nowhere to be found, which is a good thing, that's for sure. But of course, we're going to be well away from this record high on August 2nd that we saw of 101 back in 1975. The only thing that you've probably been noticing the last few weeks or so is the days are starting to shorten up quite a bit now. We've actually lost about almost an hour's worth of daylight since the summer solstice back on June 20th. So that's something to keep in mind, but we still have some great summer weather to go ahead. As we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going to be going on with our weather for the next 7 days. Now, really what you're seeing on this weather map is pretty much typical of what we've been seeing the past couple of weeks or so. Really not a lot going on with us. To start out our period, there are some indications that there might be a weak to moderate strength low pressure center trying to develop south of Nantucket. Now, this could play a little bit of a factor when we get towards Friday and maybe into early Saturday. We're going to have to keep an eye on this system because this could bring some very, very, very heavy rain to areas just south of Boston, going down towards the Cape and Long Island. Looks like the heavy stuff is going to stay away from the Burlington area, but something we're definitely going to have to monitor the next couple of days. After this system scoots on by us, though, look at this. We have nothing but just fair weather skies. This storm is actually going to move up towards the Canadian Maritimes and kind of slow down a little bit as we see a high pressure center trying to build in from central Canada. This is going to, again, keep us in sort of that northeasterly and northerly flow, which is going to prevent any really hot temperatures from coming into the Burlington area over the next 7 days. Now, as we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going to be going on with the tropics for the next few days or so. As you can see here, look at this. Nothing but wall-to-wall sunshine just about everywhere across the Atlantic. Really doesn't look like there's much developing right now in the tropics. There might be a little bit of an impulse coming off of Western Africa that we may be watching maybe later in the week, but something that definitely doesn't look like it's going to be affecting us here in the Burlington area or in southern New England. As we move ahead, I'm going to show you about some of the great conditions we have coming up for the next 7 days. Again, starting out on Thursday, we're looking for temperatures in the mid to upper 70s under partly cloudy skies. Now, as you notice here on Friday, this is where we're kind of a little bit iffy right now on how close that low pressure center to our south is going to get. So we are going to keep the chance of some spotty showers and thunderstorms around. Again, temperatures in the mid-70s, just about a little bit under where they should be at this time of the year. But look at this going into the weekend, into the start of next week. Just beautiful conditions, partly cloudy skies and temperatures starting out in the mid-70s on Saturday and getting up into the low 80s by the time we get on to Tuesday. Now, as we get into Wednesday towards the end of the period, we may see a little bit more humidity in the area. We're going to see a front approaching us perhaps by Wednesday, so that might bring us some showers and thunderstorms to the Burlington area as we get into that time frame. But all in all, it looks like we're going to have a great weekend coming up. And folks, I hope you get out there and enjoy all of these great summertime temperatures and weather that we're having.
Hello, and welcome to your community calendar. Don't forget, safety first. On Wednesday, August 2nd from 5 to 7 p.m., the Burlington Police Department and the Burlington Fire Department will be hosting Community Safety Night at 3rd Avenue and Wegmans. The event will feature police cars, trucks, equipment, fire trucks, and much more. The event is free and everyone is welcomed to attend. For more info on the event, visit bpdsocialmedia.wordpress.com. Next, one of the biggest Burlington events of the summer is right around the corner. On Saturday, August 5th, the Burlington Rec Department will be having Celebrate Burlington on the Town Common. This fun-filled, family-friendly event has many activities for young and old. The fun day includes a carnival on the Common starting at 11 a.m., a car show at 5, and then a special concert on the Common at 7, and finally fireworks at 9 p.m. Everyone is welcome, and make sure to bring some money for food and drinks. For more info on the event, visit burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695. Finally, grab your popcorn and head to the Burlington Public Library. On Monday, August 7th at 11 a.m., the Burlington Public Library is continuing their Movie Monday throughout the month of August. The movie they will be showing is the 2017 version of Beauty and the Beast. The event is free and everyone is welcome. You may bring your own lunch, but please, no nuts. For more info on the event, visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. This has been your community calendar. I'm Ian Cassiola. Back to you in the studio.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo shows some young Burlington residents engaged in some colorful fun. It was sent in by Kim Lynch and shows scouts from PAC 105 doing a color blast during a picnic at Rahanis Park earlier this month. The scouts also had an obstacle course, bubbles, and tie-dyeing, and all had a great time. Thank you for the photo, Kim. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, the weather outside, your own door, or even photos of your family members and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Rich Hosford, Chris Flaherty, Robert Parrish, Peter Brown, and Ian Cassiola. Thank you for joining us.